Hello folks, today we'll discuss about the problems of country specific redirection that Blogger does on our blog. If you do not have a custom domain used for your Blogger blog, then your blog URL looks like this. The homepage of the Blogger blog URL would look like this. For example, my blog is techubber.blogspot.com. So what Blogger does is, usually this domain is redirected to a country specific domain. Now, I'm in India, so when I view my blog, the URL starts with techubber.blogspot.in. So similarly for other countries, domain gets changed. Now this has a problem with some of our social media such as Facebook likes or comments. So I'm gonna discuss specifically about Facebook comment issues because of this country specific redirection. So for example, you might already know that when you implement a Facebook comment on a website or a blog, you can moderate Facebook comments by going to developers.facebook.com/tools/comments. So I have selected my app here, which is specific for this blog, and I can see that some people have commented on my blog using the Facebook comments, but surprisingly I don't see some of those comments, and the reason is because of the country specific redirection we just discussed. Because for some of these users the domain starts with .com. For some of these users the URL has the .com, and for those people who have commented from India, obviously they saw the blog as blogspot.in, so the URL got changed. So when I go to my Facebook comment moderation tool, as you can see, this particular blog page and this is the same, right? Somebody commented on how to add Facebook comment box on your Blogger blog site. Similarly, this one is on the same page, but when I check on the when I hover my mouse to this link at the status bar at the bottom, just pay attention to this area here, the status bar area. There we'll be able to see the link on which this comment is applied. So when I hover my mouse on this link, as you can see at the bottom, the URL has .com, whereas when I hover my mouse on the link here, the URL that is displayed in the status bar has .in. So that means the comment was applied on the same page, but then one of the comment is done on .com and the other comment is done on .in. So let us see how this affects the comment display on the page. I have when I have the page already open by clicking this link. Now because of the domain redirection, the URL displayed on my browser here is .in, so I can see the one comment here, which obviously is the .in. When I hover here, if you look in the status bar, it's .in. So this guy commented on my blog post, and when he commented on my blog post, he obviously saw my link and the URL as .in because of the Blogger domain redirection, and because of that the comment is applied on .in. Right now, because of the Facebook comment redirection, I am not able to see .com here, so obviously the .com comments are not displayed on the page. If somebody else who logs in from the US, suppose, views this particular page, then I suppose they will see the .com comments. So this is a problem because depending on the URL gets changed because of Blogger country specific redirection, and because of which some of these comments will not show, some will show. So this is a problem. So in order to resolve this problem, we can also force Blogger to use .com, and one such solution is provided by Lapnol by Amit Agarwal. He has blogged about how to force Blogger to use .com instead of the country specific URL. So he has given us this code which works. I have already tested this, so this can be applied to our blog. So the instruction he provides here is that we have to edit HTML. Right after the head tag, we need to paste this code. So that is what we are going to try now. We will try to force Blogger to use .com and see whether the .com comments, the other comments, appears on this page or not. So I'm going to my Blogger page, going to theme. Alright, before you do any edits on your Blogger theme, it is a good practice that you back up your theme first before making any changes by clicking on backup and restore. So we'll save this file. So once you've backed up your file or your theme, you can go to edit HTML and just look for the head section, which is here. So right after this, we can put the country specific redirection, which the code I've already copied here. So let me just copy this and go back to Blogger, and we'll just paste it here. So just for the sake of my identification, I will put a comment here: force Blogger to use .com. Okay, and just alright. So this is the code that will redirect Blogger to always use .com. So I'm gonna save theme now. And let me go back to Blogger page, which is open, and refresh the page, which is redirecting me to .com. Okay, so now is the time to check whether the other Facebook comments which are done on .com appears or not. And in that case, I suppose this comment will vanish. Let's see. So as you can see, the other comments are now appearing because those were done on .com and not on .in. Now if I look for this comment, it's not there, right? But at least now that Blogger will always use .com, my blogspot will always use .com, I am not gonna miss any of these Facebook comments. So if you are facing a similar problem after implementing Facebook comments on your Blogger blog, and you are able to see some comments, you are not able to see some comments because of the Blogger country specific redirection, then you can apply this code from Lapnol. After the head section, you can paste this code, and this will force Blogger to always use .com, and this will also solve the Facebook comments not appearing issue. This will also solve a lot of problems related to Discuss or other commenting or social media platforms, because the URL, if we don't apply this, the URL will change every time, and it will be difficult for social media purposes. Another way to solve this problem is to use your own custom domain for blocker block. So suppose you buy, suppose I buy Techubber.com, that all of the URLs will start from here and whatever the link is. So every time the URL will stay like this. So if we get a custom domain, then this problem is not going to be there. But then again, if you have already implemented Facebook comments on a URL like this, that means before you bought the custom domain, then you will lose your Facebook comments once you have your own custom domain. That is another problem. But for long-term purposes, if you intend on using a custom domain, then this is definitely going to solve your issue. Now suppose if you want to have your own custom domain, then you can buy that domain first and then go to blocker settings, and from the settings you can set it up here. So right, so from this blogger setting and publishing, you can set up your own third-party domain here, so that your blogger blog is always redirected or using the custom domain. So this is definitely one step that is also going to solve this issue, this URL changing issue. But like I said, if you had already implemented Facebook comments before, then those comments will not appear once you move to your new custom domain. So that is also one thing you can keep in mind. For me, one of the primary reason why I don't want to have my own custom domain is because I don't want to go through the hassle of renewing the domain every few years. As you know, once we buy a domain, it has to be renewed after a certain interval, whatever the period you choose. So I don't want to go through the hassle of renewing, getting a domain plus renewing that after every few years. So I'm just contented using my good old blocker.com domain. So that's the reason why I'm still on blocker.com. So if you also have a blog with blocker.com without a custom domain, then to solve this issue, this Facebook comment not appearing issue, you can, as we discussed, you can apply this code and then force blocker to always use .com instead of your country specific domains. But if you are one of those who like to have your own custom domain, then you can obviously buy one and set it up with blocker. I think that's also one solution that you can apply. So that's all I wanted to discuss here. So I hope this is useful for some of us. Thank you.